Oh boy, here we are.
Right.
We are back. It's Carol, Ellie, and Lynn, and we are back on our $1 million mission. Hello, everybody. Glad you're here tonight on November 3rd. And we're going to talk about some uncashed checks, and I know you're probably wondering, what the heck are we talking about today? We always like to keep you guessing, and this is going to be something I think you'll take away some really good value. So, but guess what we do first, right, Ellie?
We drink.
Yeah, we drink.
That's what we do first. That's the theme here. We drink, we toast to your mission, whatever your $1 million mission is, whatever your passion is, whatever your dreams and desires are. That's why we're here. We're here to help you enable those dreams and desires. So here's to us all.
Cheers with that. Oh yeah, and I chuckle because Ellie, right before we got on, she goes, I don't know what the hell we're talking about today. Which, you know what, it's funny because I remember when this term uncashed checks was introduced to us, and it was from a leader inside of our company and Empower Network at an event. This was a few events ago. I mean, like, it could have been even last year. But at any rate, uncashed checks. It's kind of like one of those things in our business that, first of all, we love checks, don't we? We love to get paid, and we want to get more money, earn more money in our online business. But how can we do that? And it's funny because this morning, I was on an elite club training. And even though it's for elite members, in other words, a little bit more advanced than beginners, still people were asking questions which was very interesting. And so what I've noticed, what I've done lately, probably in the last, 6 months or so, is I've been sitting back, watching people, listening to people more than preaching to people, if that makes sense. Because here's what happens. If you're constantly pushing out content or you're always promoting your business, what is it that your audience is hearing from you? What are they hearing from you? Noise, probably, right? Because everybody else is doing that, right? So now we want to get to a point where we stand out, where we're our own person, our own personality. So this term, uncashed checks, what that means, well, what we think it means anyway, we're going to, just let us share this with you, and you can take it or not, But what it means is all the information, questions, the people that you meet, the conversations that you have, the groups of people that you're in, the events that you go to, all the things that you do that's not only within your business, but within your life. What is it that you can share with each other, that you learn from each other, that you can actually turn that into a paycheck? You can turn that information, or maybe there's a question you saw somebody asking in a group that you were in, or on a hangout. Maybe there's a question on this hangout that somebody keeps asking all the time. Can you turn that around and provide value to your audience? And what is that going to do? That's going to attract people to you, and when you attract people to you and your business, that creates the leads, it creates the sales, and it creates the retention of a customer that's going to keep coming back time and time again to your business. So the uncashed checks is the content, the information, what you experience in life. And if you're leaving that on the table, if you go to an event, in other words, if you go to an event and you take a whole bunch of notes, like we just recently came back from Orlando, and you do nothing with those notes. Nothing. This is a vault. This is a vault of information, content that could be very valuable to just, even 10 people, tens of thousands of people, whoever your audience is, and that can attract, the type of business and that you want to grow and expand and have the kind of results that you want to get. So at any rate, I wanted to start off with that, kind of like where I'm coming from as an uncashed check is almost like a bank vault of the information that every day you're learning. It's like these little baby steps, but you're learning something, and it's like you're banking it. You're putting it in this bank, this vault. And now you can release some of that, and you should release some of that because you're learning, you're growing, you're expanding, and when you share it with others, it's going to be this valuable content that will keep coming back, to build the business that you want to build and make the sales that you want to make. So I'm going to switch this over to Carol or Ellie and see what they want to say about that.
Okay. All right. Very interesting introduction, and I'll go right along with that. I'm not going to argue with you. I have some very concrete things to say, but I'm going to hold them for right now, given the introduction that you just came in with, Lynn. Excuse me. And I'm going to talk a little bit about attraction. And what I'm going to talk about was gleaned from this last event that we were at. And there were several leaders and several relatively new people to the field who are doing very well. And they all spoke on stage and shared their information, their nuggets, their beliefs, their tips with us. And I kind of meshed them all together, and this is what I came out with. And one topic that I came up with was attraction, as you mentioned, Lynn. And this young fellow was saying, don't sell EN, but market it by attracting people. Usually, we choose as our target market people who are much like ourselves. Not 100% of the time, but usually that's what we market. And these people who are like ourselves, it's easier for us to attract because they like the same things that we like. So he just explained it like such an ease and flow kind of thing. He said these folks are going through the same things that we are either going through or went through to get to where we are now. And you can help them work through these challenges and roadblocks and whatever it is that's standing in their way, just like you did for yourself. And another one had said, share your heart, share your vision. And there were some folks from Portugal there who didn't even speak English, and they had a translator on stage. And I just love those people. I can tear up right now even just thinking about them. I just love those people because they work from the heart. They come from the heart. And one of the things that they had said was, I'm just going to quote it, we get emotional when we see the people who trust us change their lives. People put trust in us, and we need to honor that trust and care for it and help it to grow and help these folks change their lives. So with that said, now I'm going to go on a little bit more. Let me just find what I'm looking for here. Okay. Someone else had said that people come for the money. They come to this business for the money, but they stay for the feeling. So one of the things to help them stay is to know your products so that when people are either asking you about it, inquiring about your business, or are new to the business and you can direct them in the proper fashion, you want to know where to direct them, what products will help them the most, which ones they might want to purchase for themselves, to learn from, which ones they might want to watch if they already have it, because there are a host of them. So sometimes people are a little bit overwhelmed as to where to begin. So you want to know your products in order to be able to guide the people in the right direction. And it's also helpful for the new people who come into your business with you to create a video, a welcome video, and give them, for example, 3 basic steps of what they need to do to get started. And, you know, again, point them in the right direction, tell them where they can go to get the information, whatever. And let them know what's expected of them as well. So it's a little bit of a give and take there. So you're kind of setting them up with that welcome video. And of course, you're welcoming them. You're letting them know that you're pleased and happy to have them in your family and working with you. And also, it was suggested that you have a hangout weekly with your own team. And in that hangout, I've seen this in some people's hangouts, they will interview some people who are beginning for the first time to have success. And it's very inspirational, especially for the newbies. So those are some of the techniques that were shared from one person from the heart, from an attraction point of view. So that said, I will be quiet for now and I'll pass it right along.
Yeah, so, I mean, that right there, those are uncashed checks. If you don't do nothing with them, they're uncashed. So if you're watching this, okay, and you're in here because you're learning, you want to learn how to do business, maybe you're here because you just want to go, oh, how do these people do a Google Hangout? I want to see what they do and what they talk about, and, you know, and yes, you could even drink on your Google Hangout. That's an uncashed check. But because if you don't do anything with the information, that's, to me, the meaning what this is all about. Now, they have pages of notes and I don't. Okay, I'm not a note taker. So if you look at my book, I start pages and then I have like 2 words on it and that's it. I'm a huge auditory learner, and here's what happens when I start to take notes. I lose what they're saying. So I get extremely frustrated. So I wish I was a note taker. There's a disadvantage to that. But, you know, when Lynn and Carol were both like, oh, we got lots of notes, I was like, good. You talk about it, and it will trigger my brain. You know, that's why even going through those 1-word things I write, lots of times just a word here or there can trigger. But it's really, really difficult for me to take notes because I'm concentrating on what I'm writing now, what they were saying, and I now lost what the hell they were just saying. So if any of you are auditories, you really understand that. Background noise, and it drives me crazy that I'm an auditory person. When I sit here on the computer, I talk out loud, which is why Carol and I are in separate rooms. Because she said I would make her crazy being in the same office. I have enough space in this room, but she's like, no, I ain't being in there. So, because I talk and whatever, okay? So I'm extremely auditory. But still, what happens to me is they, just like this, Lynn and Carol talk, and then I go, oh, yeah, okay, I remember that, you know. And uncashed checks are all about learning information and doing nothing with it. That's what it's about. And this business that we're in teaches, learn, do, teach. That's what it teaches. So it's saying, learn, and you get all these golden nuggets from different people, and implement. So, you know, if somebody is just starting out or they're getting ready to bring new people in, you know, when they get off of here, go cut a video like Carol just said for you new people. I'm going to ask Carol later if she did one. But these, you know, that's a, now you've added value to your business. And as Lynn was talking about, as a matter of fact, I wrote that down. I actually wrote that down. See that? I scribbled it. And that's the other problem. When I write notes, I can't read them because I scribble, and then I go, oh, crap, what was I saying? So now I think it was Lynn who said, people come for the money and they stay for the feeling. Who said that? One of you said it. Oh, Carol said it. All right, sorry. But, you know, that's an uncashed check right there, and I think people screw up on that. Because, yes, people do come for the money, and, yes, you're marketing a business and you're marketing away, for people to create money, to create an income. But if you just keep it about money, all right, and you don't identify with these people, and you do, when you're building a team, you got to get to know these people. Okay, you really do. You know, you got to get to know who they are, and if you take the time to find out who they are, what their dreams are, what their goals are, now you help them, because then you remember, oh, this is what they're looking for in their lives. All right, this is their goal. This one has a whole different other goal, and you excuse me, you talk to them about that. There's feeling, because now you just told that person, I remember you. I remember what you want. I think you're important, because everybody is important. So that feeling is the reason why people stay. Now look, okay, also making money is a good feeling. So you add them both together, and that works out great. But if people go into those points where it starts to be difficult for them, if you're relating to them and you're working and talking to them, that you know them, you help them hang on. You help them get through that hurdle, because there's always hurdles. We're doing things that we've never done before. We're stepping into different levels and zones of our life that we've never stepped into before. There are always hurdles. They're supposed to be there. Those are the things that help you absorb the expansion that you've just, lived through. So helping, acknowledging somebody, and I'm not saying you have to hold their hand and listen to, cry stories for an hour a day. Folks, I don't have time for that. I didn't have time for that even before this business, because that drags me down. All right, imagine if you had 10 people, you'd be just sitting there crying. I'd be crying. It would be the end of me. So it's that way of finding out who people are, and then helping them connect into the answer for them, and helping them, just letting them know, you're special. You are special. You can do this. It might take a little longer than that person. There's no such thing as a race here. There's no race going on. So to me, that is a huge uncashed check. I think a lot of people, they blow it, and so they go through teams, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because it's all about the money. I don't think they've yet really stepped into their own why, and that's why they're going through that. So you see, now I do know what the hell we're talking about. I'm passing it over to Lynn.
I knew it. I knew, Ellie, you would know. And you know what? That's a good point. Like I was kind of alluding to at the beginning, is there's a ton of different uncashed checks out there in different formats. And like Ellie says, connecting with your team, or the people that that's inside your business and things like that, it's very, very valuable. And I can't tell you enough how much I've grown, and I've seen other people grow, just like Ellie and Carol, into people that have more experience, more knowledge, more confidence. You know what I mean? And when we keep growing together like that, it's just really powerful. And that's when the results start coming in. So it isn't all about the money, and it is about the feeling. It really is. So that is thanks to Carol for sharing that. I think it was Aaron Rashkin that mentioned that. But at any rate, so uncashed checks, how do you cash them in, right? How do you cash these uncashed checks? Well, there's many different ways that you can do that, like Carol mentioned, and Ellie mentioned, and maybe even Carol, is about doing things like a video, a welcome video, right? Let people see who you are. Talk to them. Pretend that they're right there, and you're talking to them on that video. I can't tell you how many times new team members have asked me, Lynn, what do I do in my first video? I always tell them, I said, you know what? Get your phone out and just do it. I don't care if it's even 10 seconds. Just say your name, where you're from, and, hey, I'm having a great day. And just do that, right? That's the beginning. Because I look back, oh my gosh, I started doing videos a while ago, and I look back at some of my first videos. I remember I used to write a script and I would tape it up here on my screen, and I'd be like this, looking down and up and reading it, and I'm like, shoot, and it would take me all day to do one little 30-second video, right? And I finally I got some really good training. His name was Tom Breeze. This was like 4 years ago. Excellent, video guy in London. And he said, you just be yourself. Just be yourself. Pretend there's somebody that you're looking at in that camera, that it could be Ellie or Carol or me or your team member or anybody, really, your husband, your wife, whatever, right? Just look at that camera and just talk. And then take your first video, go look at it, and don't delete it. I always tell them, go put it on YouTube. You go put it on YouTube, and you have a link back to your blog or a link back to your capture page or whatever. And they're like, really? I'm like, yes. Let people in. Let people in. And then start, the stair-stepping into, who are you? A little bit more about your story, because once you do that, now you're connecting. Then when you start building that team, now you can start bringing them in, right? And creating this, I can't think of the word right now, but you have this team now of people that are bringing uncashed checks now to other people. It's kind of like this chain of events, this chain of checks, so to speak. So it can be any format, right? You could have an experience where you read a blog post. You read a blog post, because Carol, she writes a lot of good blog posts, by the way, and and so you might get inspired by what somebody else says. So go write a blog post or do a video or whatever, right? Even a post on Facebook, and then recognize that person. I'm telling you right now, when you start doing stuff like that, talk about uncashed checks. That's a cashed check, 10 times over, because what that shows is that you care about other people. All right, that you have this feeling. You have the feeling. It's not all about money. You have that feeling, that you want to build people, and the money just comes. The money just comes. So I just wanted to interject there, and I do want to share. I took some notes as well, and the one thing that I took away from the event, I mean, there was a lot of things, but what I really liked the most was Paul Hutchings. He had, man, that guy can talk. I'm telling you, he can talk. And what he was talking about was, do you have the quality moments in life? And he would ask you, how would you answer that question? The quality moments in your life. How many do you have, and do you have them? And is it something that you've even thought about? Do you live a quality life? Now, there's an uncashed check right there. Guess what? I'm going to share this. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a blog post. I'm going to, I might even do, who knows, a slide thing or whatever, because these are things that you can share with other people to connect with other people, because they're going to connect with you if you found something that was profound, right? Then share it with them, and in return, you're just going to see a totally different way that people are going to just attract right to you. So anyway, I wanted to put that out there, and I'm sure Carol probably has some more that she can share as well.
Yeah, just to follow up on Paul and the quality time, he said this business gives us the moments that matter, and yeah, just like you said, he has a lot of good stuff to say, a lot of stuff and a lot of good stuff to say. So yes, let me get a little bit more concrete. I think I'm going to be here in terms of some of the quote-unquote nuggets that people shared with us. And Kevin and Kim Sousa, there's so many new people coming into this business all the time. And the new folks all say, myself included when I was newer, how can I make people believe when I don't have these thousands of leads and I haven't made 10 figures yet or whatever. So he said, and I'm quoting him, he said, say to people, I just joined and I'm following leaders and successful people, and I'm looking for 2 or 3 people who want to follow them too with me. And I don't know, that struck home with me. I thought that was a good way to get around that. Some people suggest some other things that are kind of convoluted, and I don't know, that I would not be comfortable using those other expressions, but I liked what he had to say here. Now, also, in terms of attracting and communicating with our people, it is important to keep that communication going with our teams. And I'm just going to throw some things out here. I mean, there are so many different ways to run this business. You know, it's not necessary to follow what I'm saying or what I picked up from the event, but these are just some ideas, and, you know, maybe they resonate with you, or maybe you can, they trigger something in you that say, oh, well, I don't like that, but this might work for me, you know, whatever. But they're saying that, you know, when you've got the new folks, talk to them, set up a plan with them, and have them revise it every month. Have them revise their goals so that they don't, if it goes, you know how they always talk about the shuttle, the missile that's going out into space, how it's always off course and it has to keep readjusting. And you know, that's what we all have to do, especially the newbies. And if we treat them the way we like to be treated, like business partners, that edifies them and makes them feel good. And, you know, because you want them to stick with you, and for 2 reasons: you want to help them, and also you want your business to be profitable. So you know, you have that dual goal all the time. So communicating with them and edifying them and treating them like partners is a good basis on which to relate with them. And let me see what else I wanted to say here. Keep things simple in communicating with the team, and as duplicatable as you possibly can. And let me see, there's just a couple other things I wanted to go into in this line too. Communicate with your leads. Your hot leads, you might even want to get on the phone and give them a call if you have a number for them, and you know, see if you can convert them that way. The colder leads, of course, you want to warm them up through your emails, and I think we found out more about that this past weekend. One other thing too that came through, I saw a couple of videos lately from one of the leaders, and this so rang a bell with me that as you know, there was a big the word push comes to mind. I don't like that word, but a big push, for lack of a better word, over the last few days to get this new comp plan off and flying, the Uniline. So and to get people in, and they were offering the company was offering a lot of benefits for people who got in before or by October 31st. So I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought for a moment here. Oh yeah, what I wanted to say was everybody had their nose to the grindstone. Everybody that I know, they were working, emails, telephone calls, really going at it to see what they could do to get things going here. And one of the leaders said, can you imagine if you worked like that every day in your business? Not just when there's a quote-unquote push. My God, think of the results you would have. Now, I don't know if we'd all have the energy to work that hard. I mean, our vacation kind of went down the tubes a little. Not, I can't say down the tubes, but a lot of things that we would have done while we were on vacation happened to be during this time period, and you know, we just didn't get to do it because we were on the computers. But it's true. You know, if we it built confidence, I think. It built momentum, it built confidence, and made people realize that, yes, this can be done. I saw examples of a couple of people that, they used the Facebook chat technique, and they were embarrassed to do it. They were afraid to do it. They were concerned about what people would think about them if they contacted their friends or their family or whatever on Facebook to see if they were interested. And doggone, this one woman who had never done this before, she got 6 signups in 2 days. I mean, all we have to do is do it, and this stuff works. So that said, I'm going to be quiet, and we'll pass it along to Ellie again.
I can't stop laughing. This is a woman a year or so ago said, I can't do that online business. Now she's talking leads, cold leads, hot leads, warm leads. If anybody's sitting here and you're like, I can't do that thing, I'm not techie, I don't know what this stuff means. She's been cashing her checks, okay? She's been learning and then cashing her checks. That's for sure. And yes, I heard somebody say that, would you work there? I thought, no, I'd be dead. My ass would be totally flat. And I want anybody to know that's watching this right now, whether you're live with us or you're watching the replay, that doesn't mean that any of those benefits went away in the business. They're all still there. It was when we were going into this new Uniline. And so it was really important for the people that were already in the business. So we did get a little carried away. I sat here for hours. There's no doubt about that. That's the truth. Would I do that every day? No, that's not my goal. Okay, but if you learned how to do that, then that same leader actually was then talking about learning how to do micro, I forget how he called it, but in other words, like little mini bursts, micro things of, this is what works in my business, and chunk it down and then be able to plan your day and your life, okay? Because if you're in my age bracket, you want to have a life besides that. And I mean, at any age bracket, okay, you want to have a life. So it really is about, you have to be present to get the uncashed checks, okay, to get the checks. You have to be present to get the checks, the golden nuggets, okay, that become uncashed checks when you don't utilize them. So really what it is you're getting golden nuggets, all right, tips and information from people, and it's true. What's going to go aha for me is going to go, it's not the other person going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? But it doesn't matter. Okay, whatever your golden nuggets are, they're yours, and then they become uncashed if you just leave them sitting in the vaults, like, in that book, or for me, in your head, because my note taker is in my head. So that's really, really important there, is realizing you can't always be in learning mode. I see too many people do that. I've done it. I'm guilty. Learning mode, learning. I learn how to do this. I got to do this first. I got to do this more perfect. I have to do that, and then I'll do this. All right. And I just had gazillions of uncashed checks, and you know what happens after a while? They get an expiration date. Okay. So the bank goes, no, you're taking that frickin' check. It's 4 years old. That account is closed, okay? So you're screwed. So you got to go to the damn bank and cash the check. And another thing that Lynn talked about is, was talking about when you're doing videos, be real. And you know what? That's a self-worth. If you're really, really, really uncomfortable, it's a self-worth thing. So, keep reading. Keep reading, because I don't have a problem on video. I don't. But people think, oh, she's like so good. And, unfortunately, I dumped so many of my bloopers and I shouldn't have, because I'm not like this freaking turn the camera on whiz. That ain't true. All right? Especially, normally what I do is I kind of know, and I've already kind of talked about it in my head before I get, because most of my videos end up in my car. So before I get in my car, I have it and I ran it through my head. And sometimes I don't. I just got the idea and I didn't take the time to run it in my head, and then I start saying something and then I go, oh shit, and I hit the camera, and then I say, and then I go off and then I go, that's not what I meant to say, and I hit the camera. And you know what? sometimes I come back and Carol says, "Oh, so you did a video?" I go, "Yeah, I did about 18 of them. One of them is good." Okay. Sometimes, because there's a sun thing here and how the sun is coming down, and it's like too much sun, so I can't do it going that way. I got to do it coming this way. And I'm at my damn road. I know I have like 40 more seconds to go. I have to pass my house. Sometimes I take people up my road, but it gets a little bumpy going up there. But I will pass my house, okay, and keep doing this damn video, and then turn around and come home. So I'm not like when people go, "You're a natural," that's not true, okay? That is not true. And I don't know if there is such a thing. But what I talk about I believe it. And I just be me. I just be me. And so we're all a natural at just being me. You know, so if you could sit down at a table with me and talk to me, then just make believe I'm a freaking video camera. Like, what's the difference? You know, and I know a lot of people end up looking at themselves because of the smartphones, because we see ourselves. So you end up looking at yourself and you're not looking at the camera, and I keep looking down, so I know I'm not looking at you either. All right? If I'm doing a video here, I look right up at my camera. I look right at you. So that's really important. So find out where, like mine, it's a little dot here, and when it's recording, there's a little red recording going on. So I just keep looking at that little red dot. And it's hard not to look over at yourself. Okay, but then you're looking away from the person that you're talking to. So just don't, I tell people put a sticky note over it, over the face of you, so you don't look at yourself. Just look over there where you're supposed to look and just have the damn conversation. You don't, and then people get into, "Oh, well, I'm supposed to be a big expert." No, just be real, because you are an expert when you're real. And you are convoluted when you're trying to be something else. So that's huge, not just in video, but in this whole business. Stop trying to be somebody who you're not, because while people come for the money and stay for the feeling, one of the other things is people truly, they're not so as much interested. They're interested in your product because they're interested in making money, but it's you who brought them in. It's you who brought them in. They had a connection with you, you know, and as long as you're keeping that connection going with all of the golden nuggets that were put here today about working with teams or cold and hot traffic, leads, I love it, I love that, you know, utilizing that to continue to build your following and build your team. All right, I'm quiet now.
No, that was good stuff, especially when you were saying how people think that you're a natural, you know, on the video, and I get that too, but it's like everybody starts from zero. We all start from zero, from anything that we do. If it's something different that you do, you start from zero. So just remember that, because you can look back, even when you first start, like if you just started like a week ago even, you can look back and see how much you've learned even in just that 1 week, and now you're not at zero anymore. So that's something to keep in mind. And when we're talking about these uncashed checks, you're going to have them from day one. There's things in your life, experiences and things like that can be an uncashed check that you can cash it in, share that with people, and then turn that around to be, you know, to be a value to them and a value to your business. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to start shutting this down. We have a very important webcast tonight where we're going to learn more about the Uniline. And what I understand is that there's going to be so many people on this, we're probably going to crash the servers again. So we want to be like one of the first to get on there and get our spot. And I think Ellie sent out an email. I know I did too. So you should have a link to that. And trust me, you want to get on there and check that out for the Uniline. And then I love this topic tonight. So I don't know if Ellie and Carol want to maybe continue this next week or whatever. But I think there's a lot of good conversation that's coming from this. And I hope you found that way, you know, the same value as I felt that we were giving to you. So, Carol, final thoughts?
You're muted.
It would help if I unmute myself, right? You know how everybody says we don't know what we don't know? Well, somebody told Ellie and us lately, one of our mentors, you don't know what you do know. And that's some of our uncashed checks. And it's true. So I'm going to point that information, that finger out to you folks. You don't know how much you do know. Think about that. And on that, I'll close.
Yeah, that was really cool. That's true. You know, we forget that we know a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. That absolutely is the truth, and I know all of you watching that, you do the same thing. So if you're live here with us right now, or you're watching the replay, please know we appreciate you. We really, really do. We appreciate when you come, when you watch. Leave your comments. Always leave your questions. You leave questions, and we will. If we don't get to them here, because maybe you're watching the replay, we'll get to them on the next Hangout. Tell us ideas of Hangouts you want to see us do. Just write it all in there, you know, or get to us if you know us. You know, look us up on Facebook and get to us. But you can certainly leave your comments, your questions here. We really do appreciate you. We're going now because we're going to gather more golden nuggets. And then we want to run to the bank and cash them, which means we want to implement them and do it. That's absolutely what we want to do. So,
Especially with the Udaline.
That's right. With this, we're going to explain all of this, so we're excited about that. And I think we're ready to roll.
All right. So let's do a toast here. Hey, Carol, how about you toasting this time?
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I got to unmute myself first. Sure. Here's to all the uncashed checks. May you all cash them, recognize them, be aware of them, and go to the bank with them. And also recognize how much you do know. Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Thank you, everybody.
This is good. Okay, we will be back. Same time, same channel next week. Leave all your questions, comments, get to us. Tell us what you want us to talk about. We love you. We will see you next week. We're running over to the other spot. Ta-ta.